A lot of conflicts, 90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way star Greta gets emotional while recalling her childhood struggles. Hello friends, I am Wordly Wise. Welcome to my channel. For the latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press bell icon. Show icon. Show a lot of conflicts, 90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way star Greta gets emotional while recalling her childhood struggles. 90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way. A lot of conflicts, 90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way star Greta gets emotional while recalling her childhood struggles. By Jira Rothode. Modified September 17, 2025, 3:37 ET. Comment. Discuss 90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way, Season 7, released its second episode on September 15, 2025. The latest episode saw Greta from Oklahoma, who was soon moving to the UK to move in with Matthew and his parents. Before that, she went to see her friends Hannah, Lainey, Megan, and Chelsea. They discussed Greta's move to the UK and how Matthew's family lived together. While talking about living with the family, she recalled struggles from her childhood days. 90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way star revealed about her mom's passing and what happened after her dad remarried. Around 5 years old, my mom passed away, and eventually my dad got remarried. The families did not mesh well. There were a lot of conflict. I felt like my stepmom didn't really want me to exist. So I learned to just make myself as small as possible to not draw attention to myself. I don't know how to interact in a family setting well, shared Greta. 90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way Season 7 Episode 2. Greta opens up about Matthew's familess living situation and recalls her childhood days. The latest 90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way Season 7 episode featured Greta going to see her friends before departing for England. She confessed to the cameras about how excited she was about moving to the UK in 1 week. Her friends told her that they were making bracelets, so that she would have something to remember them by. Sharing more about her friends and activities they enjoy together, Greta confessed to the cameras, "Me and some of my friends call ourselves the Wives Club because a few of us got engaged around the same time, but I think a more appropriate name for us is the Grandma Club. We like knitting and crocheting and drinking tea. I even take opera lessons." During their discussion, one of Greta's friends asked how she felt about the move. She responded that she felt excited. She also noted that she felt stressed about moving in with Matthew's family. "They live in a really small cottage," added Greta. Her friend Hannah asked if they all would be sharing bathrooms. "There's 1.5. They share a shower, but there's not even a bathtub. And then they eat meat, and they're cooking steaks, and then it's just awkward," said Greta. 90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way star also talked about how she was not really good at living with families. The reason was that she lived in a very hostile home during her childhood. Hence, thinking about living with families would make her nervous. In her private confession, Greta opened up about her childhood. After her mom passed away, her dad got married again. However, things didn't work out well for her because the two families didn't mesh well. Greta recalled her stepmom not liking her, so she decided not to draw attention to herself. That resulted in Greta not knowing how to interact in a family setting. "Well, I don't know how to enter in a room and make small talk. I feel like I really lack the skill set necessary to live with a family," added Greta. Later, her friends asked about how she would be spending her days there. Greta said that since the laws and rules were different there, she wouldn't be able to continue her practice there. Hence, she planned to volunteer at an animal advocacy organization. To know more about Greta, fans can head to TLC and stream 90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way, Season 7, Episode 2.90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way, Jenny and Sumit start a business. Johnny complains Chloe is jealous. Luke parties hard. 90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way featured Jenny and Sumit starting a business and worrying about their financial investment, Johnny calling Chloe jealous and fearing she's not ready to be married, and Manon and Anthony moving to France during the Season 7 episode that aired Monday night on TLC. Like 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way's prior seasons, Season 7 will follow American citizens moving to or living in foreign countries for the sake of love and their future spouses and experiencing culture shock. 90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way's 7th season will feature 6 couples including Jenny Slatten and Sumit Singh, who have previously starred on multiple seasons of 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way, and Luke Berry and Madeleine Perez, who appeared on Season 4 of 90 Day Fiancé, Love in Paradise. The new 4 couples are Greta from Oklahoma and Matthew from England, Anthony from California and Manon from France, Putia from Texas and Dylan from Tasmania, and Chloe from Massachusetts and Johnny from Aruba. Below is what happened on episode 2 of 90 Day Fiancé. The Other Way's 7th season. Jenny admitted she felt like a child in Sumit's parents' home because they had gone through her belongings and removed her alcohol. Jenny said she was going to be on her best behavior and just deal with it. She also offered to cook the family dinner alongside Sumit's sister-in-law. Sumit's mother said she loved seeing both of her daughter-in-laws working in the kitchen. "The only thing I know how to cook is spaghetti. But I think everybody will like it," Jenny said. Sumit's parents apparently didn't like the taste of Jenny's pasta, but they still demanded she cook daily for the family. Sumit's mother planned to teach Jenny how to cook different dishes. Sumit then revealed that he and Jenny had decided to open a cafe and run the business in India together. It was going to be a family venture since everyone in Sumit's family loved to cook. "It's going to be a lot. I'm concerned Shati is going to hit the fan," Jenny confessed. Jenny told Sumit's parents that after a long day of work, she'd want to come home and rest. Jenny's mother vented about how Jenny needed to act like an adult and a responsible grown-up who could do chores upon returning home. Jenny said she'd be fine with cleaning, but not cooking, and she had no idea what the future was going to hold. Jenny and Sumit later headed to the cafe for their first day of work, but the place was empty and needed a lot of work. Jenny couldn't imagine the small space having a full kitchen and 6 people working inside. Jenny compared the cafe space to a hallway and wondered how they'd get a freezer and oven inside, but Sumit, although he knew it was going to take a lot of hard work, was optimistic about what they'd be able to accomplish. The cafe was going to be the main source of income for the family. Once Sumit's family saw the cafe, they thought the place was way too small and they had bought the wrong place to start the cafe. They also didn't have outlets or running water. Sumit therefore began to worry about his financial investment and that the cafe was going to be a total failure. Luckily, Sumit had a plan B and told his family how there was a shop nearby that was empty. But Sumit wasn't sure if he could afford another investment. It would mean a huge loss on the first location. Sumit and Jenny therefore decided to try plan A first and see if things could work out. Johnny, a 32-year-old tour guide from Oranjestad, Aruba, was shown swinging on ropes and diving into the ocean from his pirate ship. Johnny's pirate ship was clearly a party boat with alcohol pouring all around him. Johnny admitted temptation was high since he was around women who wanted to let loose and have fun all the time, but he claimed he was crazy about Chloe. Johnny said Chloe was gorgeous and he liked her personality, but he'd never leave Aruba for anybody. Johnny was therefore looking forward to his long-distance romance with Chloe. Ended. Johnny, a 32-year-old tour guide from Oranjestad, Aruba, was shown swinging on ropes and diving into the ocean from his pirate ship. Johnny's pirate ship was clearly a party boat with alcohol pouring all around him. Johnny admitted temptation was high since he was around women who wanted to let loose and have fun all the time, but he claimed he was crazy about Chloe. Johnny said Chloe was gorgeous and he liked her personality, but he'd never leave Aruba for anybody. Johnny was therefore looking forward to his long-distance romance with Chloe. Ended. Chloe apparently watched him on his cameras all the time, which annoyed Johnny. Johnny, however, acknowledged how he had made some mistakes in the past. But Johnny also once caught Chloe having a sexual conversation with another man. He claimed Chloe had lied to her about the extent of her relationship with this man, and so they decided to be exclusive and commit to each other. "But we don't trust each other at all," Johnny said. Johnny told his co-worker that he wanted to start a family with Chloe and so he hoped she was ready for that. Since Chloe was only 23 years old, he wasn't entirely convinced she was ready to leave the party lifestyle behind her. "I'm ready to get married, and I love Chloe so much. But I've only known Chloe for a year now. I don't want to waste time on a girl who's in vacation mode. I need somebody who is ready for stability," Johnny explained to the cameras. If Chloe could prove she was serious about their future together, Johnny said he'd definitely be ready to get down on one knee and propose marriage. Chloe, meanwhile, was excited to reunite with Johnny, but she also admitted she was terrified to leave her mother, friends, and the only home she had ever known. Chloe's mother was planning to visit her in Aruba in about a week, but she had no idea that Johnny had cheated on Chloe. Chloe wasn't sure if her mother would freak out upon hearing that news. "I don't want my mom to judge our relationship," Chloe explained to the cameras, adding how she didn't want her mother to have a negative view of her future husband. Chloe assured her mother that she knew what she was doing, but she confessed to the cameras that she really had no idea what she was doing. It's definitely a scary feeling moving my entire life to Aruba. No one is on board with this move, but I'm in love, and so I'm going to go and figure it out, Chloe said in a confessional. Chloe knew she was going to lack structure in Aruba, so she just hoped for the best, knowing she was going to be way out of her comfort zone. Anthony's sister was very upset about Manon and Anthony moving to France, and so she and Manon had gotten into an explosive argument at a family gathering. Anthony said Manon was justified in kicking his sister out of their house, because everyone needed some time and space. Manon acknowledged selling the house and moving to France was a drastic decision, but Anthony pointed out how they needed to move for the sake of their finances and to essentially save their marriage. Before Mason and Anthony moved, Anthony's sister apologized to Manon, and so they were about to leave the country on a good note. Manon, however, was emotional and upset about leaving California, a place she truly loved and felt comfortable in. Luckily, Manon knew she and Anthony were in this together, and she was confident their relationship would deepen and prosper once they changed locations with their child. On the way to the airport, Manon and Anthony bickered once Anthony said he felt like he was a single parent in the household. Manon snapped at her husband for being mean, and she pointed out how that was the exact reason why she had agreed to move to France. Luke was about to move to Colombia in 1 week, and she gushed about how the time had finally come. In the meantime, Madeleine decided to look at some apartments where the couple could stay together once he arrived. Madeleine told the cameras how she wanted to buy an apartment with her own money as an investment for herself. Madeleine, who ran a beauty salon, planned to rent out the space and make money on it. Madeleine told the cameras that she worked hard for everything she had earned and she wasn't going to let any of Luke's bad investments drag her down or put her underwater. Madeleine had a tough childhood and spent some time in the streets, so she said she was never going to allow herself to be in that position again. Madeleine's friend and realtor apparently thought Luke was a fool and Madeleine had wrongly forgiven him for his mistakes over and over again. A few months ago, I found a private message on his social media, Madeleine explained. He was speaking with another Colombian girl and told her to save him in her contacts, like he was her husband. Luke allegedly told Madeleine that he had acted this way because she wasn't giving him sufficient attention. Madeleine couldn't believe it and said she'd never accept that behavior again. I believe he has been a good man despite his mistakes, Madeleine noted. I decided to forgive him because I've been waiting for him to move here for so long. I just hope he doesn't prove to me that I am wrong. Luke partied with some of his best friends before leaving for Colombia, and she knew this was going to make Madeleine angry. Luke explained how Madeleine didn't want him to have a bachelor party without him. One of Luke's friends was concerned about his future because he thought Madeleine had cheated on Luke before. Luke's friends apparently viewed Madeleine as controlling and selfish. Late into the evening, one of Luke's friends invited a stripper, and so Luke was worried this was going to piss off Madeleine. I don't want to do nothing that's going to get me in trouble. I feel like I'm digging myself a deeper and deeper hole, Luke noted. Greta, a 27-year-old from Norman, Oklahoma, gushed about how she's crazy about her cat Hazel and thinks people who don't like cats are weird. Greta explained how she's nonconformist and had graduated from law school 3 months prior to filming. Greta, who was vegan for 7 years, said she always felt connected to animals and wanted to work in animal law. Greta apparently thought animals were going to be her whole life until she met Matthew, a 26-year-old from England. Matthew admitted he's a nerd but brings stability and calmness to a relationship. Greta had made the first move on Matthew and they met for the first time in London. When they argued about economics one night, she said she knew he was the one. Once Greta returned to the United States, she said the couple continued talking every day. And after 1.5 years of dating, Matthew proposed to Greta and she said yes. Since Matthew has a good job in England and is close to his family, he and Greta decided it would be best for her to move to England. The pair planned to stay with Matthew's parents for a while, and Greta was about to leave in 2 weeks. Greta unfortunately had to leave Hazel behind since Matthew had 2 other pets, so her close animal-loving friends agreed to take Hazel in. Since Greta had a strong friend group in Oklahoma, she was a little nervous about socializing and making friends in England. Greta, experiencing a little self-doubt, also wasn't sure what living with Matthew would be like. Greta admitted she had a fairy-tale image of what living with Matthew was going to be like, and so real life was probably going to be a rude awakening.